Today, we're diving into a really fascinating spiritual practice for Shab-e-Barat, a night many call the Night of Destiny. We're going to break down a specific ritual, as detailed by astrologer Ali Zanjani, that's said to help with some of life's biggest challenges.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about why this night is so important. Then, we'll look at the specific problems this one ritual is meant to solve. After that, we'll get into the actual recitations, the step-by-step method, what to do after the ritual is done, and finally, we'll clear up some really important questions. Let's get started.
All right, so first things first, what's the big deal about this particular night? Well, Shab-e-Barat is seen as one of those truly special times of the year where the connection to the divine is felt to be incredibly strong. It's really framed as this golden opportunity to ask for forgiveness and seek some serious blessings.
And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it, a night of acceptance. The core belief is that on this night, your prayers, your rituals, they just have a much higher chance of being heard and answered. This one idea is the bedrock for everything else we're about to talk about.
So what is this specific ritual, or Wazifa, actually for? Well, it's presented as a single practice, but it's meant to tackle a whole host of different life problems. Think of it less like a single key for a single lock, and more like a spiritual multi-tool for a bunch of different challenges.
And we're talking about some really tough stuff here. Things like financial instability, where money just seems to vanish the moment you get it. It's also aimed at helping with debt, ongoing health problems, finding a partner, or struggles with having children. Basically, it's presented as a spiritual boost for almost any major, stubborn problem you might be facing.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What do you actually do? It really boils down to two key things you have to recite, and the order is super important. Getting these two parts right is, well, everything. So on one side, you have the recitation of two specific names of Allah, Ya Ghaniyu, which means the rich or the self-sufficient, and Ya Razzaqu, which means the provider. And on the other side, you have a short but really powerful chapter from the Quran, Surah Ikhlas. These two together are the engine of the whole practice.
All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. How do you actually perform this ritual? Let's walk through the instructions step by step so it's perfectly clear.
The very first thing you need is something physical. For this ritual, you'll need 7 pods of green cardamom. You can think of these as the vessels that are going to hold the spiritual energy from all the recitations.
Now this part is super important, so listen closely. This whole process is done for each individual pod. So you take one pod and you start by reciting Durood Sharif 144 times. Then you recite Ya Ghaniyu Ya Razzaqu 70 times. After that, Surah Ikhlas another 70 times. And you finish it off by reciting Durood Sharif again 144 times. Once that's all done, you set that one pod aside.
And just to be crystal clear, that whole long sequence we just went over, you have to do it from start to finish on the first pod, and then you start all over again for the second pod, and then the third and the fourth, all the way until all 7 pods have been individually blessed. It takes some serious dedication.
So, you've done all the hard work, the recitations are finished, and now you have these 7 blessed cardamom pods. What on earth do you do with them? Well, that brings us to the final part of the practice.
The idea is to consume all 7 of these pods over a period of 14 days. You've got a couple of options. You can either have 1 pod every day for a week straight, or you can stretch it out and have 1 every other day. The main rule is that you have to use all 7 within that 2-week window.
And how do you actually take them? You just work 1 pod into your daily routine. You can mix it into your tea, your coffee, or even your food. The whole point here is for that blessed cardamom to literally become a part of you, to get into your system so its spiritual benefits can be fully absorbed.
Finally, let's tackle a really important question that always comes up with things like this, especially when you're thinking about your family. The source gives a very straightforward answer on this.
So you might be thinking, hey, I did all that work. I performed all those recitations. Can my entire family just share this one set of 7 cardamom pods and we all get the benefit? It's a totally logical question, and knowing the answer is key to doing the ritual the right way. And the answer is a very clear no. It's a one-person, one-set deal. Now, one person can do the recitations with the intention, or niyat, for their whole family, but the physical set of 7 pods is strictly for one individual. So if you're doing this for yourself, your partner, and a child, you'd need 3 separate sets of 7 pods.
So when you step back and look at this whole thing, what are we really seeing? This ritual is all about incredibly focused intention. It's this amazing blend of specific words, a physical object, and a sacred time, all brought together in the hope of inviting divine help into your life.
It kind of makes you think that maybe destiny isn't just something that happens to you, but something you can actively try to shape through faith and action. And it leaves us with a pretty big question. What really happens at that powerful intersection of belief, words, and a physical act?